All right, so today we have Carl, and he is a student in the AUM training program. So, Carl, go ahead and introduce yourself and share a little bit about where you're from and your occupation.
I'm from Seattle, Washington originally, but I moved down here to California for school and have stayed here to work in San Diego. And I, financial planner, and I guess maybe I might have missed a few of those other topics that you want me to cover.
Yeah, just who you are, where you're from, and your occupation.
Yeah, financial planner. Mm-hmm.
Got it. And so, before we started working together, what were some of the methods that you were using to get new clients?
Reaching out just from my contact on my phone, Facebook, friends, mostly just that. Yeah, warm leads, I guess. I didn't do this before, so this is all new to me as far as prospecting and getting people to be interested in services. So, but I reached out to better understand what other people have been doing in the field to see if I missed anything or ways to leapfrog all of the hard work versus doing creating the wheel myself. Yeah.
Got it. And so what are some of the challenges that you've noticed from, kind of going in the field and kind of trying to do the client thing on your own?
A lot of it is it's up here, in the mind, and getting yourself just to ask the questions. And some people have been receptive to share, who else I could work with, but I think a lot of the times they retain control of sharing the information, and it's just like a fighting to get some information back from them, to get more information to qualify the next person or to get their contact information. So it's a lot of reaching out, effort to reach out to find more people versus people coming to me. So it's just a lot of management back and forth of getting client information so you can reach out to them.
Got it. And so I know we spoke briefly. Can you share a little bit about how your last 2 weeks have been and kind of how that's gone?
I haven't done a lot, honestly. I went through most of the material, but I haven't really been implementing it. So I feel like I've been lacking in that area. So it's timely that you called me or reached out to me.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. So at this instance, I just wanted to kind of just ask you a couple questions about that. Just 4 questions about kind of, what you have implemented so far, and then based on what you messaged me about the last 2 weeks and how those been, and then at the end of that, then we can kind of talk through some things one-on-one, if that's okay.
Sure. There's actually, I looked over the course a couple months ago, I feel, and I think it just brought into my mind that there should be a process of identifying people and qualifying them. And there's no reason that you can't find the information. The internet is very transparent with a lot of people. So I think I had just some initial hesitations about, if I don't have their number, then I can't even reach out to them. But there's so many ways to find the information and get creative. I think that was just spurred my imagination. There's definitely a lot of tools that I haven't used from your program, but I want to go back to and start implementing, because I now see that there's a lot of value in having other programs, other resources to do prospecting for me. That's my main value add that I was searching for.
Got it. Yeah, and that's good, because this may be helpful, because there may be some people that want to come on the program and maybe having kind of some mindset and kind of roadblocks kind of in their way a little bit. Would you mind just sharing a little bit more about what you think about, kind of how that's kind of some things that you need to explore that may be kind of holding you back from what you just mentioned?
I think I just need to reach out more often and more at bats. And I think the virtual prospecting tools like the Ulink and other ways to reach out, or have the message in the LinkedIn, like have a story, like build all these different areas where people can reach out to you and know who you are, and create that quick bond without even knowing each other. Those are some areas that I definitely get to work on.
Got it. And so, what do you think's kind of been, one of the main challenges that are kind of holding you back from just kind of achieving that?
Just my search for, there's got to be something else. There's more out there, which there is. So that's not helping. But just doing one thing well has been my problem. I find that when I find one thing that works well, there's maybe 4 other things that comes with, and then I start researching into that, and then there's 2 more things over here, and I start like collecting all this information, but I don't act on implementing it appropriately and quickly. So those have been my downfalls as far as making it grow the way that it should.
Got it. Yeah, and that's good that you mentioned that, because that's kind of where you can kind of go down the rabbit hole or get into the process of that shiny object syndrome, right? Where you start doing a little bit of research and you get excited and you get that dopamine spike, and then you're like, oh, what about this? Or, oh, this tool or that tool. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that really just comes back to the whole power of focus is if you get back to that one thing and just kind of focus on that, which is the main goal is, how do I get or attract more key people? And if you just make that the main goal, just focus on that. It seems to be a lot easier. It's never easy, but it just makes it more simple, I guess. And it can get a more difficult when you focus too much on the how and the what instead of the who, right? Mm-hmm. Which can turn into a little bit of self-sabotage or procrastination for sure.
Yep, totally getting that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so have you ever had any other challenges with the self-sabotage or procrastination like that in any other areas?
Working out, other things that are like I want to do, but then find other things to prevent me from doing that. Most of it's, the hunt for more research and trying to improve the business, and not just doing the basics that I signed up to do, but kind of skipping 5 steps or doing all the basic work. I find myself not doing all the basics when I should be. And then I kind of reward myself by doing the more research. I should have that more of the mindset versus, just research and then I'm stagnant and I don't have a balanced practice. I have more peaks and valleys versus just the more balanced trajectory. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's profound, because what I found is, before I really became successful kind of doing this, I used to do the same thing, but just in a different manner. I find something that I was interested in, and instead of taking what I already knew and trying to implement that and figure it out, like taking action, what I would do is I would get on YouTube, and then I would spend all day on YouTube consuming every single piece of content that was associated to that. But then that content took me to a different subject that landed me to somebody that was having a conversation with someone else. So then I found videos that they were watching. And so I went from watching Zig Ziglar, who was partnered with Tony Robbins, to who was partnered with Russell Brunson. And now I'm not even watching motivational things, which I started to kind of start my morning off. So now I'm learning about ClickFunnels, and I am all the way over here trying to do funnels at the end of the day. And I'm so far off from my goals. And so that's a pattern for sure.
Yeah, I was just noticing, I was probably for a couple hours today watching ClickFunnels videos, and I see your 4 books in the back. I actually almost bought that today. So it's funny that you're mentioning that. But trying to get resourceful with, funnels, or just like bring people to me, or like multiple ways to be reached, Facebook, social media, your own websites, in person.
Right.
Like I'm trying to find multiple ways and kind of just more at bats that way to bring people to me, that even people that I don't know yet. That's like one strategy. A lot of people that I work with in my office, more of like, who do you know, person by person, you'll eventually work your way up the market, and being people that someone else knows, the referred lead, that's how most people generate business from what I've heard, versus the more creative internet, prospecting solutions. So I don't know if I'm just going down a rabbit hole and that's not going to be useful, or, everyone always says just whoever someone else talks to and who do they know and who do they know, and don't use the internet really for much prospecting. So I'm kind of doing both at the same time and not doing either of them successfully. So
Right. Yeah. And so I'm glad that we had this call, because I used to have that same challenge, and it really just kind of comes down to one of these things. And I've been trying to share this a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And so something that I think can be helpful is there is 100 units of time in the training program. And so what we see here is there's, in any given day or any given action that we're doing, the maximum that we have is that 100%. And when you kind of split your focus in half, it usually kind of looks like this. And so if you're trying to do online and offline, because you want to kind of maximize those things, what that does is it works well, but it breaks at scale, right? So it's the maximum that you can get from, online. Let's just say this is OL. Online is here, and then IP is in person, right? So the maximum success that you can have, no matter what, if you're doing half of this and half that, is 50%. And that's if you're, doing an exceptional job at it and you're really good at it. And if you're doing this over here in person, well, obviously we know there's some physical limitations and things kind of going on with the in-person thing. But the challenge with this is one, focus, right? And then two is repetition on, being great at it, because a lot of times what happens is the moment that you stop doing something, or you take your eye off it, it's entropy or atrophy, right? Like your muscles atrophy if you don't use them. If you sit around too much, they start to deteriorate. Well, the same thing happens kind of with your focus and your results and your skills when you don't practice just doing one thing every single day. And so what happens is you are focusing on one thing, but you're switching your attention back and forth really quickly. And so, statistically, people, well, theoretically, they call this multitasking, but it's really just switching your attention from one thing back and forth, which really just allows you to be okay at this side and okay at that side. And I'm just curious if you noticed in the training, because there is a mindset piece in there that really kind of focuses on how to structure your day and how to master your mornings to kind of focus on success. And really, just that framework of doing these small activities every single day, will allow you to kind of to go from, if this was a graph, from where you kind of want to go, where you're kind of doing like this, it'll allow you to kind of have some success where you can kind of do like this. And, this is okay. And nobody's, upset about this. But if you really want to kind of achieve something great, it really just takes for you to be able to just kind of focus all of that energy. And it's kind of like, you're trying some ClickFunnels, you're trying some LinkedIn, you're trying a little bit of email marketing, you're trying to send out business cards, you're doing mailers, and you're doing all those things. And, you'll get some results from that. But if you just took that one amount of energy, those 6 units, and just kind of focused it just like this, I think that this is something that could probably help you just really quickly. Obviously, I'm not telling you what to do. It's just a suggestion. It's just a theory of mine, but something that you could probably kind of troubleshoot and implement immediately to kind of change that, because it's just kind of we train our minds with phones and computers and these things. It kind of fries our brain a little bit, because that small dopamine hit, even while we're on the john, or waiting for the elevator, right? We can't even sit still long enough. And I do it sometimes as well. Or you're waiting in line at the grocery store, you can't even wait without pulling out something to try to get a quick dopamine hit. And just kind of focusing on some of the mindset things in the training, as well as you mentioned that there maybe some different avenues. Well, if you hadn't checked out the course in a while, there is a whole module on how to attract people on Facebook, and to do it that way, how to set those things up. There's a whole list of other things, as well as there is a kind of a mastermind group where if you are trying to do too many things and you just want to kind of focus, but you'd like some assistance on that, there is a mastermind option where we'll be I haven't really been advertising any of this, because this is kind of one of those things that people know that this is something that they want to do. But there is a mastermind group where it's like, we spend, a solid 2 days fixing your business and getting it up and running as well, to kind of be an option. But for what you mentioned, because I think a lot of people have that challenge. And again, I used to suffer from paralysis by analysis a whole bunch, because I just needed to have the right information. But again, the only information that you need is the information that you already have, because it turns into you needing to rely on an external source in order for you to kind of get where you need to. And once I realized that, it was like, oh, well, let's just try what I already know. So I would, challenge you to kind of go back through a little bit of that. And I'm sure with all this stuff's going on, it's probably kind of been kind of crazy for you, just like it has for everybody. But there is some good information in there that could probably help you with some of these principles, like mastering your mornings, how to structure your day, how to take the logs of things that are non-productive and throw them on the fire, to sacrifice those things so that we can get more out of our day, and those things as well. So hope some of that was helpful. I'm sorry if I got a little long-winded on that, but I just wanted to try to help.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I totally appreciate it. And focus is definitely what I need. And or at least, I guess I'm focusing on the wrong thing. So I just need to find the right thing to focus on.
Yeah.
I've been focusing a lot on, figuring out what to say and giving a process down. If I meet with some person, this is what their experience is going to be, and this is how I say each thing. These are the objections that are come up. This is what I say for these objections. These are the drawings I do for as XYZ. So it's pretty exhaustive, but it's only good if you can use it. So
oh yeah, like if you're in front of a prospect, yeah. And so and for that, then that just comes into like, you need to feel like you have control of the situation. If you don't know what to say, then you don't feel like you have control.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of cases where like things just slip out. There's poor follow-up, or expectations aren't set, or, I explain something not the right way, or I'm too wordy, or I talk when I'm not supposed to, and just more of listen mode when I'm trying to understand them better. So, perfectly good prospect, but I feel like I did the presentation in the wrong way. So
right.
I've been trying to fix some habits and finding some better language out there, and do's and don'ts. So
right. Yeah. And so that's why in the training with the calls, we try to do it just a little bit different, because if you try to approach it to where you need to make sure that you're in character and everything's scripted and perfect, it really can remove you from the experience that you're about to have with another human being, right? And so a lot of these meetings and things is a connection, right? Two balls of energy are connecting at a certain point, whether it's, with the frequency of sound, with bits, or, in person where you're sharing the same space. And, when atoms collide like that, usually if you're aware and, you come into it kind of open, right? Just kind of open, you usually can kind of use human intuition, which is that preservation piece where all the knowledge that you've had and experienced over this time is filed away somewhere, right? Like, so fight or flight, if something were to happen, that part would kick in as dormant. If, you played baseball as a kid and, a brick fell or something, you could either move out the way or you could try to catch it. Like, these things just happen. So sometimes needing to know what to say, sometimes just not saying anything at all is the perfect kind of script, which is just listening more, being curious. And so if you really want to kind of focus on solving some of that and really mastering a lot of those things, just asking better questions. Because usually if you ask better questions, that'll lead you down a road a lot further, and people will pretty much answer and solve the problems for you right in front of them, and just make it such an easy kind of consultation, as opposed to needing to know what to say and when to say it, and to pause here and use that. And the script is great, but the script is just to move the conversation down the line so that we can have a beginning and an end. Mm-hmm. And
so I'm just trying to, I could go on for a while in the conversations, but recognizing I only have 40 minutes to have this conversation, an hour maybe, and I'm still halfway through the conversation, and it's 15 minutes in. So I think I need to, I've had great conversations with them, but not as far as getting all the information that I need, or making the case open so that they're wanting to come back, or that there's a need. So I was trying to redirect the conversation to be business versus talking about how's your day for too long.
Right.
So there's that kind of stuff going on. So that's just me, 7 months into the business, I was trying to figure out my own way to do it. But I've lost track of, I feel a little comfortable about how to present more so now, but I think just the prospecting piece is where I'm really struggling right now. So that's where I'm trying to figure out, should I do funnels or email marketing or LinkedIn messages or whatever. So
right. So let's start with that then. Do you mind if we start with that? Let's just kind of unpack that. So 7 months in, what was your previous professional career kind of coming into this?
I'm a CPA, so accounting and auditing.
Makes total sense. You remind me of this person named Andrew Argue. Kind of sound like staccato kind of conversation where your mind is just thinking of 1,000 things while you're talking. So now it makes sense. So those are people that you're comfortable with. Have you ever even attempted to kind of reach out to those people? And when I say those people, I mean, accountants. Have you ever talked to try to connect with accountants?
Somewhat in the beginning, but not really. I mean, I've on my list of a huge market that I should be tapping into, but I don't know why I haven't. There's even another program that I signed up for, which I probably shouldn't have. Is some CPA referral network group. This is how to do it and how to reach them and marketing wise, and I found myself signing up for too many things, and then nothing was happening. So
right, the same pattern, right? It's the exact same pattern.
Yeah. So it's another thing I need to go back to and get the value out of it, because if I can, before it's too late.
Right. So now we're starting to see a pattern here, right? Which is, start something, get really excited about it, doing research, run out of kind of things to research, and then it kind of comes down and it's like, okay, well, I don't know if that's going to work. Let me go ahead and find something else. You look, find something else, research, get excited, do it. That same cycle, right? Do you kind of follow that? So that is your pattern, and that excitement thing is something that is kind of keeping you from going up because you're more distracted about the kind of the steps or the how to say this, the process or the intricacies of the details, which is driving you from taking action. And so the only way this thing is going to keep going up is action. And so the more time that you spend reading and learning, because education is great, but without any action, then that information is just stored there, and you're left with it. And the sin, I'd say, the sin of information is not sharing it with anybody else, because you can only benefit from it so much. And if you share with multiple people, you can kind of be fruitful and multiply. I'm just using these kind of things as examples just to kind of get it out, because that's the best way I can describe it. But you get what I'm saying, right? It is, the information alone isn't going to get you where you need to go. It's very helpful, but if you're in learn mode, then be in learn mode. But then there has to be some kind of recognition of a process to where you need to take action. And this isn't something easy to do to try to fix overnight, but just being aware of your patterns and not judging them and being too hard on yourself, but just being aware of those patterns, right? And so the first thing you want to do is map out your day. So in the training, there is 100 units of time. And so the first thing that you would do before you changed anything was track everything that you're doing. And so if you're into the analytical things and it's all, the intricate details, then the first thing you need to do is, who is Carl every single day? And the way you figure that out is to figure out who you are, you're the sum of the things that you do. And so if you track every single thing that you do for a week in hour increments, then that will show you exactly where all your time is going. And where all your time is going, right, that is where your attention is going. And those are ultimately going to show you kind of where your results are. These are terrible drawings, but you follow. Do you follow that?
I totally follow. Yeah.
And so that's one way to kind of help you get on track. And that's helpful because it's eye-opening. And then there's categories in there that kind of break down the activities that you have. And so you just, you don't cheat the system, and you don't change anything while you're tracking them to try to make it. Just do what you normally do, but you track your activity, and then you put them in the sheet. And then the sheet is going to be non-emotional, rational information that you can use, that's black and white, because it's fact, because you did the action, you recorded it, and you input it into here. And all this is a mirror of Carl, right? And so now we can take that and we can work with the data, right? Because the data is the metrics. We can figure out how to take things that are in, I hate when this thing does that. So let's just say this is a 0, this is a 10, and that's a 100, okay? We can take all of the things that are in this 0 column and just get rid of those, right? And so now we'll start just doing things that are in the 10s column. And we just kind of snowball that to get that way. So this is a systematic approach to change behavior with awareness, and really just kind of focusing on those things. And so hopefully that'll be helpful. And then another thing is with accountants, let's see if I can change this. I'm going to go back. So with accountants, and the reason why we try to focus on the niche is because something cool happens when we kind of focus on things that we know a lot about and that kind of have an expertise in. And that thing is affinity. And affinity, I'm just going to leave that like that, has a huge thing to do with interest. because if you're excited about something, you're getting that dopamine spike, then who knows how long you can sit and learn, watch, or engage in something. And if we can figure out why accountants are awesome, and kind of some of the experiences that you've been through, which I don't know, which I'm going to ask you in just a second, then we can kind of draw some similarities. And before we get off this call, I can kind of help you see some things that probably in your head that kind of have missed. And one is knowledge. All the things that you know about being an accountant. And then the second thing is experience. And then this third one is the skills. Right? And so when we come from this angle, then that's the sweet spot. And that is the golden mean of, and I just put a dollar sign here, that's the ticket that we want. That's money. That's the sweet spot. It's the money spot. And from there, this will allow you to do this. But this is going to be your confidence. Right? So your confidence is going to do this because you know a lot about it. You've got a ton of experience and you can resonate. You either have the skills or that's something that you can learn, but you can share that. And then that's where your sweet spot is. And the more confidence that you have, the more action that you're going to have, the more action that you take, the better results that you're going to get. And that is, pretty much that feedback loop that you will get if you kind of implement some of those things in the training that I'm speaking about.
I love it.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about accountants. What is some things that, can you just tell me about, let's just start with your experience. What's some things in your life, tell me a little bit about your background, accounting and that kind of stuff.
So I worked for Ernst & Young, Big Four accounting firm, and then also worked on the private side also for Energy. It's a energy company, and so both public and private, both sides of the fences, so to say, and a lot of accountants in the Big Four accounting, not a lot of extra free time, always on the grind, working away, not a lot of free time. So super busy. Think that they're pretty knowledgeable of business because we see it all the day. But there's also restrictions with investing because of all the independence regulations, compliance. So you'd have to invest in like mutual funds or something that's not an actual stock because the big companies audit most of them. So and
so it's kind of like some insider trading kind of situation where you can kind of get Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, as soon as if things change, teams move around, then you might have to sell it the next day without you just have to sell it just because of compliance.
Okay.
It might be down that day, it might be up, who knows, but there's a lot of restrictions and red tape on that. And I think overly nice people though, not total jerks because they have to work with clients all the time, and pretty knowledgeable people.
Got it. And so all of those things that you described, would you say that you share some of the similarities of those qualities that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so as far as your knowledge with accounting and all those things, can you share a little bit about that?
There's lots of different types of accounting. What are you searching for?
I'm just asking you, what's your experience, kind of what's your knowledge of being an accountant? What's your area of expertise, kind of, what?
I don't really have a specific area. It's mostly just jack of all trades. I mean, I probably say that pretty humbly. I probably know a lot more than most people, but um, I have a master's in accounting, and uh, worked on very large companies and also small startups, so the whole gamut. And I know there's regulations changing all the time, but I stay current with news coming out, and I can't practice it currently. Being a financial planner, I can't hold myself out as, I can do your taxes. But I'm still, staying current. I still hold my license and everything.
Got it. So yeah. What made you want to become an accountant? What were some things that you kind of?
So I graduated in 2010, and so from college, and so that was right around the market crash, and I was actually on the fence between accounting and finance. And my counselor told me, well, accountants can go into finance later on, but finance people can't go into accounting very easily. So and the accounting is a lot more conservative and safe and predictable, so I went that route. If it was 05 or something when I graduated, then I probably would have done finance instead, but I was just going the safe route, and what I could get. Now that I built up some stockpile of all my debts are paid off and have some cash on hand, and I felt more safe. And then recently engaged, past couple months I got engaged, so wanted to create more of a flexible time, and I wasn't able to have flexible time when I was an auditor. So I found that this was something I could do, where I can tell people how to learn more about their finances, and as I was doing it myself, learning more about what I should be doing, and creating a sustainable future that way. So kind of naturally evolved to wanting more flexible free time, which is kind of a lie, because when you start your own business, you don't have more free time. If you do it correctly, there's a lot of extra upload, extra work ahead of time to create a business. But I think, I put in a lot of work being a CPA, and there's never really a lot of recognition as far as if you worked 80 hours or 50 hours, you still got, 6 or 7% pay increase, which was pretty good. But there's no real benefit from working extra hard or not. And so, with this work, the more effort you put in, the more you get out of it. And I feel like I'm putting a lot of work in it, but a lot of it's not, immediate gratification. It's a delayed gratification business, which is hard to deal with sometimes. So lots of things I'm learning just by starting a business and being your own boss, and getting more people to talk to you, and to those things that I didn't really have before. A lot of it was they tell me what to do, tell me a project. Okay, I'll hunker down, put on my earbuds, and do Excel for the whole day or something. So some different skill sets between being a financial planner and reaching out to people and those things. But I've always been a people person, and I love talking to people and having great conversations, and very nice person. So some people ask me why am I still in accounting? Because you're this goofy person that likes to go dancing and party central, and maybe there's a different profession that you should be doing instead of being locked up in between some four corners of a cubicle. So trying to get out, reach the community, make more impact that way, while educating them about financial planning and having some flexibility about when I can do that.
Got it. And so, what are some of the skills and services that accountants, use to kind of solve problems for businesses?
They have I guess it depends on the type of accounting. It's pretty big area, but they'd organize information. If it's assets or liabilities, make sure that you do like these sanity checks. Make sure that they're pretty, in line with expectations. You have to document your expectations, then you measure them against that. Make sure that they're accurate. You never really expect things to be 100% accurate when you're auditing. There's always some thresholds, so it's okay to be off by a little bit. But there's lots of research materials. You have to back up your opinion about why it's okay or not with information that's published from the SEC or some other well-known resource. And there's lots of review happens up the chain. But a lot of it's just gathering information, documenting your opinion in an organized fashion, make sure you address all the topics, and on to the next area. Yeah.
Got it. And so what solutions with your services now as an advisor could you help solve the problems that they have of, not having a lot of time, having money restrictions? They're pretty conservative and safe people. So, if the numbers make sense, then, they're used to balancing accounts receivable. So if you could show them something that makes sense, how can you help them in those areas?
I think there's a lot of, analysis paralysis, wanting to do a lot of research, making sure that it's the right thing, because, there's lots of different opinions out there. Make sure that you back up your thing with the right sources. So just being someone that can be a trusted source, so they, take that off their hands, make sure that they can take action, because the worst action is actually inaction. And just making a complex topic simple and bring them to action, I think, so they can go about doing their other busy tasks of the day, because they're also super busy people. And yeah, make it simple.
Right. So you can, so one, they would trust you because you're someone like them. And then you are someone that could probably make things make sense and keep things simple for them.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And so that they're probably not appreciated and overworked. They're spend a lot of time at work and getting that fair increase, and then probably the carrot that's dangling in front of them is to try to make partner, right? So they're all killing themselves to try to do that or start their own thing. And they have a ton of issues here that sounds like you have some solutions to kind of solve with them, and their world. And you kind of present yourself in that manner. Once you mention that, now it just was like, oh, okay, you kind of carry yourself still on the inside as a kind of someone who thinks exactly like them, and maybe still an accountant at heart, which if you want probably an accountant, you're probably always an accountant. But does this seem like something that can be a niche for you to kind of focus on, to reach out to some people and feel a little bit more comfortable and not really worrying about what to say, because you already know kind of what the situations are that they go through on a day-to-day, because you've lived them. So you wouldn't need a script, right? This is something that could be heart to heart, where you're having a conversation saying, look, I know that, you work a lot, you're your money's kind of restricted, you're conservative, safe, you spend your time balancing accounts receivable for other people when there's things that you can't do. And a lot of it goes unnoticed. I know that you're overworked, right? But I'm here as someone who used to sit on the same side of the table as you, right? Being an accountant. And I just want to be someone that you can trust, and just knowing that there are people out there just like you that want to just help you and make things simple. Would you be open to having a conversation?
Sounds great.
No script, no nothing, just no agenda, just coming from the heart. And I think that would be something that hopefully from this client conversation that you could take away just to kind of give you some ideas. So I think that for you, I would ask you, would you be open to just kind of going through the 100 units at a time, one, just to kind of see where your focus and time is, just to be curious with yourself. And then two, kind of revisiting and kind of focusing back on some of these things that are kind of some core pieces. To sounds like a lot of these things that you mentioned are things that you're very similar to yourself, which is going to give you a huge affinity because, these are things that you also probably were interested in as well. And then just, just starting small and just reaching out to them, going back through the, level 2 of the training and focusing on accountants at least for, the next week or so and seeing what kind of responses you get and then try to spark up some good conversations.
Sounds like a good strategy.
Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful. I know this probably isn't the way we wanted this call to turn out. It kind of made a turn, but it's great. It hasn't been a lot of calls where I've been able to just kind of walk through some things and help people see some things from a third party. But did you have any other questions about any of the things we kind of talked about today?
No, I think I need to go through the training and then I took a screenshot of this, so that's helpful. I'll try to find some way I like your flow towards the very end. Looks like you have this recorded, so maybe this be some way that I could understand about the flow, but it was very convincing when you said it, so I'll just try to.
Oh, you mean like what the language that I used?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll figure out something for you.
And then if there's I haven't used Ulink yet, but I'm curious about other ways to do prospecting. That's like if I should just be doing LinkedIn to find these other CPAs, or there's CPA networks around town. I can just email how to do the prospecting piece.
Yeah, so let's keep it simple, right? Let's start with something that we can implement that will be get the maximum amount of results with the least amount of effort, right? So let's keep it. Yeah. So let's start with Sales Navigator. So let's go to Sales Navigator. So we would just go to Sales Navigator, right? And
can you share your screen? I'm still on the whiteboard.
Oh crap! Sorry. Share. And so we just go to Sales Navigator, right? We would just keep it pretty simple. And for you, I would just go, let's just go title and let's go account. And see what happens when we type in account. Did I have too many C's there yet? Sorry. We'll just go to account and see what happens when we pull that up. All right, so we got 47,000. So and that's just in Texas. Holy smokes! And where did you say you were?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my practice virtually because I'm going to move to New York next year. For my fiance's, she got into Columbia, so going to, yeah. So I'm trying to find ways to just do everything virtually versus having to drive places and, have all my people in San Diego or all people in somewhere else. I want to have like a national practice, or just states. There should be no boundaries. So, but probably be easier to start in your home, in your like backyard, so to say. So San Diego probably would be good to start.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's a great observation, and this will allow you to be able to do some of that, right? To not be limited physically. So, what I found here is 3.5 K of attorneys in San Diego. So then what you can do is just load this into the software by just copying that URL, putting it into the software, and then all of the other templates are in the program, and you just copy and paste those in. But for you, I would tailor it to attorneys, just saying what I said earlier, hey, after they connect with you, hey, I'm Carl, and those things that I said about the time and this and that, just wanted to connect with you and see if you were having some of these challenges. And if you are, I'd love to hop on a 15-minute chat with you. Would you be open to that? And
yeah,
and start with that and put that in the message, and then and see what kind of response you get. And then from there, just really be focused on that one thing, which is accountants, and let that run for a week, and just see what happens from there. Just focus on the accountants for a solid week of letting the campaign run, committing to just one thing for 7 days, which isn't that long. And then as you start to get some responses, just kind of document kind of what the metric, because there's a dashboard for metrics in the software. So that'll let you know. You don't even have to keep up with or follow up with them, because the system automatically does that. So nobody will fall through the cracks. So you don't have to worry about missing anyone. And this will allow you to be more effective, because it just streamlines the whole process to where you're just focusing on one thing. Is starting a conversation, getting it offline, to you hopping on a phone call, and then from there in the Rainmaker conversion module, which is level 4, I think, you can take them through the 2 processes to kind of cultivate the relationship, qualify them a little bit more, build some rapport, establish a relationship with them, and then ultimately at the end of the process to ask them to take action and become a client. And with that whole process, from based off of what you share with me for the last 20 minutes, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be, because they probably, trust you a whole bunch from that process. And you have a process that you've taken them through, so they would feel more comfortable saying, yeah, Carl has an actual process. He seems like a true professional. This is someone I definitely want to work with.
Yeah, I think you just got to try it out for a week, and there's a million other people I can talk to. It's not like I'm ruining my chances. Just got to keep trying it out.
Yeah, it's nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, based off the end of this conversation, off of these things, what's one thing that was kind of enlightening that you probably noticed over the last 20, 25 minutes from this conversation that we had?
I think it was nice just to talk to someone else and share my concerns and get some feedback about understanding where I am and how you've been where I have been, and to some quick solutions to take some actionable steps. And it's funny, drawing the Venn diagram about what I used to do, and you're like, so you're like this person then, right? And you're like, well, actually, yeah, I am. And so I already know the person that I used to be and how I can market to them. So
yeah,
that was a good trick. Yeah.
Well, and the reason why it's important is because it's interest, right? You're interested in the things that you're interested in. So if people are interested in the things that you're interested in, you're going to be interested in them.
Yeah.
It's really simple. Really simple concept.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just tend to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, that we all do. We overthink things, but it's like, let's slow this thing down, boil it down to its first principles, which is affinity, which gives you an understanding and experience, which is what's going to give you confidence. And what a lot of people can miss is when we get to thinking too much, that slows down the action, and the action is what gives you confidence. The more you do something, the better you get at it, which means the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the first time you ever had to call someone for, to try to set an appointment. The phone is like,
it's so heavy.
It's this big, and your palms are sweating, and you're so like, dude, this is going to be terrible. And you're reading the language, and you got it here, and you're like, they're like, just do it. And then you do it. You're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then you realize that you were calling somebody that you've been knowing for 10 years, dude.
Right. They're like, who are you? Like, are you reading a script over there? Like, they call me out.
They're like calling you out. Like, dude, are you seriously reading the script right now? Like, my friends used to laugh at me because I would say, like, did you just send me a copy and paste text message? It's like, so no. Yeah, we just complicate things too much, and it's the package, the wrapping and the bow of the thing becomes more important than the actual gift, which is focusing on helping people. And so if you want to help people, then you don't need to have a script, and you don't need to have language down. You need to have a good heart and really just want to help people, and that transfers more than knowing what to say.
Yeah.
And when you know a lot about something, you'll have more confidence and conviction to share with them how you can help them, and they'll have more confidence to trust you because you seem to be someone that has walked in their shoes or know a little bit about them. Nobody cares if you're debt free until they know that you were just like me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for hopping on. This has been enlightening for me as well. A lot of the things that I kind of just talked about, as I'm kind of going through, I'm like, whoa, where's this even coming from? It's pretty awesome. So it was a great experience for me as well. Thank you so much. And I hope I didn't keep it too long today, but I hope you found some things valuable from this. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Arjo. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye.